What is up, everyone? Let's talk about the upcoming week of matches. We've got a lot going on this time around. So let's go through all 8 games, all 16 teams in action for their final matches before we go on the break. Only one match in all of June, and that is the Challenge Cup, which is the match between last year's Shield winner and last year's Cup winner. When that moment comes, we will talk about that match. But until then, until that hardware is up for grabs, let's go over the matches we've got. So, all these matches taking place here in this last weekend of May. May 29th, we've got a double header. Well, not really a double header because one will still be in its second half while the first half of the other starts. But we got Orlando versus Bay, Louisville, and Denver. So Orlando coming back from their cross-country trip now get another team coming across country, and that being Bay FC. In the case of Bay, they've got a rough turnaround after having 2 of their players come away with nothing but red cards. So we've got some problems if you are a fan of Bay FC because you're going to be operating on a different roster set. Meanwhile, Orlando looks to just go back to their full momentum, come away with a 2-game win streak, and we'll see if they pull it. I do think they will, though. I'm going to say that Orlando comes away with a I'm going to call it a 3-1 victory. I'm going to give them a little bit of extra power on this one. I do expect Banda to score. I do expect some supporting cast, though, because Bay is going to be operating in a much weaker position than they usually do. And that's to say nothing of the fact that it's a shorter week and it's cross-country. All of this spells disaster. Those of you who know professional wrestling, the numbers don't lie. And they spell disaster for you. Okay. Louisville and Denver. This one should favor Louisville now because they're at home. However, can't discount the fact that Denver looks like the more complete team. However, I've said on a few occasions, I think Denver is going to fall short in close matches, and I think this is one where it's going to happen. This one's going to be high scoring. I'm going to give it a 3-2 result. I think Denver actually ends up with a lead at one point, but allows multiple goals from Louisville at home. This is a matchup that I think very much is the style that Louisville likes to play in. And I think they're going to have to be able to end on a high note this month of May. Let's move on to Saturday the 30th. We have not 1, not 2, but 3 matches running. So, which are some that we can cover? KC Boston. This is definitely one that will not be covered because at the time, I will likely be watching the Champions League final. With this one, though, let's talk here. Kansas City at home appears to have it more together. They're playing an expansion team who's on the road, is coming off a loss. I do expect Boston will be a little more game than they were. I'm going to say they're going to get a goal, but they will still lose 2-1. Kansas City appears to have at least a good bit of what they were trying to figured out. And this should be where they get some points back. So at least for this week, I'm going to say high note ending for Kansas City. More competitive matches for Boston, but similar to Denver, I don't think they have that clutch gene in them yet. Now, the 1 p.m. Pacific match between Portland and Utah. Highly ranked teams here in the league. Both taking up top spots on the table. Utah, obviously, traveling on the road, wants to go into break on top of the league. However, Portland is very game at home. And they did just take a bit of a drubbing in the latter stages of their match with Kansas City. So I expect a big turnaround on the part of Portland Thorns. It seems to be that none of the teams at the top really have that dominant streak in them yet. So I'm going to say Portland reaffirms themselves on top of Utah. I do think Utah will outplay them, like in terms of most statistical aspects, but this is going to be another game in the Portland style where they just find their opportunities, and I'm going to say low scoring, 1-0, and it'll be another falter for a team at the top. No one can hold on to that position. It is slippery this year. I do want to see if I can set the time aside where that's going to be one I see. However, I cannot guarantee that that one's going to be available. So we might end up doing Washington-Seattle. If that ends up being the case, still a really good one. I'm going to say with Washington versus Seattle, you're looking at a team in Seattle Reign who just got their first win in a while, first goals in a while. They're trying to reestablish themselves as a team to pay attention to, but you have to go across country to play one of the hotter teams in the league, one who's surging and trying to get back up to the top, where they can be in that Shield conversation as well. I think this is a buzzsaw game for them. I suspect Washington gets a 2-0 on them. I actually think this will be a match where Trinity Rodman gets a goal. This should be a big awakening moment for Washington where they join the logjam here. It's going to be them and San Diego, Portland, and Utah all up in that top quarter. And those really are the premier four, I think, in the league at this moment. And we'll just see what everyone else does with that. I know there's a couple other teams who want to join that conversation, Kansas City being one of them. I don't think they're there yet. And I think Washington establishes why they are there already with a win against Seattle and a clean sheet. Moving on into the Sunday matches. So last day of the NWSL soccer until the end of June with the Challenge Cup. We got Chicago now playing with a change in management. Could it be for one match? Could it be an interim thing? We will find out where they really settle on after this. But they're hosting San Diego, and this is not going to go well for them. San Diego, most likely very much looking for redemption before they go on their break after that loss, and I think this becomes a fairly definitive one. I'm going to say it goes 3-0. San Diego just shuts down everything and everyone. Yeah, it's pretty much what I would... If I could, offer up my thoughts, that's pretty much where we're headed here. This also, by the way, could be one that ends up live if the Saturday ones don't go through, because I know the 10 a.m. slot would be manageable, but I'm going to do that one as a last resort, mostly because I have other stuff on that Sunday, and I really don't think that game's going to be good. Maybe Chicago proves me wrong. Maybe they step up, but yeah, there's a lot to unpack about that game. Already covered that matchup once, and it was not good. All right, moving forward though, we go back to Gotham FC hosting Houston Dash right before we get into World Cup season. Gotham, right now sitting in 5th, trying to be that team that can also rejoin that highest tier with the other 4. And to their credit, they actually do have a team that is kind of built to give that to them. Houston, I think, did get somewhat fortunate that goal occurred for them when it did. So I do suspect Gotham pulls out a 1-0 win here. Gotham still has not been like a firm scorer in every situation, so I can't necessarily say that they're going to run them out the building, but I do think they're good enough to win solidly. And there is going to be a separation here between fifth place and possibly sixth place, and the rest of the league right now. And we'll have to see how that changes once we come back from that break. But yeah, a lot of the upper tier teams seem to be, to this point, revealing themselves. We'll see if that actually carries out, though, once we get into the next stint of matches, once we hit July. And then finally, the capper of May, the capper before the break, the capper of night, and a match I will be watching, just will not be able to do any broadcasting for. That is Angel City versus North Carolina Courage. Oh, so you have the team that has drastically underperformed all year, and now a team who had been overperforming and now is really underperforming. So both teams are on very dangerous trajectories at the moment. Obviously, you have much more capable scorers on North Carolina, but you have, I believe, a much less capable defense. So it is a tough read here. Angel City at home should be able to pull this, but at the same time, yeah, they have not looked great. It is very much, this is a grab bag kind of match. You don't know what you're going to get from either team this week. So, for the sake of just how much of a lack of confidence I'm seeing in both at the moment, I'm going to say it's a 1-1 draw. Both teams walk away with points, but man, both teams do need this, and both teams need to step up. That pretty much covers the week. We will see what happens here. I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully you're looking forward to it too. Whichever games you watch, please enjoy them. Hopefully I'll see you for whatever game I end up living. I do have my internet back working properly, so there should be no more random drops in the middle of the lives, though I am going to try to not do simul lives anymore. And other than that, enjoy your soccer. Enjoy your football. I don't want to see Arsenal win the Champions League. And go Angels.